Hey everyone. So now that you've seen the welcome video, I want to jump in and get you to the what I would call the most important part or most important video that you need to watch for this class. And I can't stress to you how important it is that you pay attention and that you use the video that I'm recording now as a link and vital tool for you to be able to do the work for the class. I'm going to take you through and show you all the relevant information, show you where to just the basic things that you need to pay attention to, like due dates and things like that. Take you through the main part of the class. And remember that all the videos that I have placed in here for you, including the lectures, are there for you to be able to refer to whenever you want. You don't have to watch them all at one time. Like even this video, if you watch half of it and you say, okay, I'm a little burned out, come back and watch the rest of it. But before you start the class and get into anything else, the very first week of the class is strictly orientation stuff because I want you to get familiar with the class, familiar when things are due, know where everything is inside of our Canvas course here in the course modules. And that's absolutely important that we start off on the right foot. Okay, as I've said, communication is really key to me. So I look to see when students are either actively engaged in the class or not. So when people come to me and go, "Oh, well, I don't, I'm not happy with my grade, or I didn't do this, or I felt like I should have done that," I'm like, "Well, did you do your part? Did you jump into the class? Did you try to get engaged? All those kinds of things." So it really is important that you watch this in its entirety and utilize this video as well as the other ones as resources for you in the class. Okay. All right. So from this is our course. For every class, I try to do something creative in terms of artistic that I put on here for people to ponder. And the reason I use this one is because it shows the complexities of society. And the introduction to political science, as I mentioned in the welcome, is really about every aspect of your life is political, from what you wear to what you think to the clothes to what you drink. All the things that are part of your life are political. Um, and it's based on the concept of power, and power is the ability to influence your behavior, influence what you buy, what you don't buy, what you think, what you don't think. And so much of it is so partially manipulated that it's very difficult to sort of discern what's real and not real in the world we live in today. And this is an unfortunate reality of the innovation and technology of the world we live in. Um, and so, with that, I just think it's an interesting note that this sort of reveals the complexity of society. And that's what I like about this particular piece of art. So, when you come into this, when you click into the classes, what you'll see, then you can just click on modules here on your left, or also down below, there's a little button you can click on too. And this is our modules, I should say. So, in here, there are some very important things for you to note. The first thing that is important for you to note is not the welcome, because you will have already seen the welcome, but the most important thing we do to start the class is the attendance check-in. Now, this tells me, hey, professor, I am definitely going to stay in your class for the long haul. I'm here, I'm checked in, and unless you decide by one of the deadlines to drop the class for whatever reason, this tells me that you're going to be in the class. And I need this because we do census, which is required by the state, to see how many students are actually enrolled in our classes. So, for example, if you don't do this by the date that I have assigned, unfortunately, because I have so many students trying to get into class, I will drop you. So take a second, go in and take care of it, and it takes just a second, and then that tells me you're in the class, you're planning to stay in, and we're all good to go. I want you to do this by the 19th, so you have a couple of days to check stuff out and decide for sure if you want it. If you don't, please drop the class right away. If you don't, and I don't see anything movement from you in the class by this time, by the end of the 19th or going to the 20th, I will drop you from the class. And you'll have to try to re-enroll or reach out to me and go, I didn't mean to do it, I forgot. I really am about my students being responsible. Okay, that's a big thing for me. I'm not a babysitter for anyone, but no matter whether you're 18 or 80. I really try to foster a sense of independence, initiative. So I want you to be as resourceful as you can. I have more than 300 students between all my courses, and I really try to help all of them. But was why it's important for me that you take advantage of the things that are there for you. And I'm here to help any way I can. But I also want to see you take a little initiative. to try to find information. That's why it's all here for you. I will never be upset if you've missed something and you just have a question. I will always help, I promise. But I really want to get you to take some responsibility and start building that base for yourself, which is going to serve you not just in my class, but in other classes. And when you go beyond IVC, hopefully onto other schools or your profession, it's going to serve you well there too. So again, the attendance check-in, do that right away. And then you'll see here, and again, by the way, you note the due date. It shows you the due date right here as well. So make sure you take care of that. And then this just tells you my office hours link. So if we ever want to set an appointment with me, or if I say, hey, let's meet in my Zoom, you click here, it'll take you right into my Zoom. So you'll just click in, well, I'll click it and show you. Let me just click here for a second. And you just see here, it shows you can just click here, you go to this right here, and it'll take you right to my Zoom room. And then we can meet there, okay? All right, good enough. Okay, let me go back to the module. And so below there, I just added this semester. I decided to sort of rearrange things. And what I did, this is like a course roadmap or schedule to show you basically week by week what we're covering. And it's important to note that certain weeks some chapters we have 2 weeks that we'll be covering. And that's why you'll see here chapter 1, we're there for 1 week, and it's week 2 of the semester. And then weeks 3 and 4, we're in chapter 2. I just break it out into 2.1, 2.2, but technically it's chapter 2 that we're going to be covering. And then the same thing for weeks, weeks 3 and 4. And then 5 and 6 are also chapter 3, 7 and 8 are chapter 4. And the reason that I'm covering 2 weeks, so there's a lot of information, and rather than having to rush through it, to me, it's more about quality of information and giving you time to get some things done and get the assignments done within the 2-week framework of each of these that will make your life easier. So I try to pace it so it's not so much work for you and so arduous. There are 16 weeks in the semester. There's only 10 chapters in the book, but that's why we have several times where we have 2 weeks per chapter to give you time to sort of digest what it is what you're reading and looking at, and also what you're thinking. And you can see each week just how it's broken down. And then in the middle of the semester, week 10, I kind of give you a break there. So if you're behind, it's like a catch-up week. And anything you're behind on here, I want you to get caught up with by here so then we can finish out the remainder of the semester. And this is basically November into the early part of December. Okay, you see also Thanksgiving holidays here. There's also like Veterans Day in here. I think it's around week 13 or 12. And then there's also Labor Day, which is early on as well, which I don't put those in there, but they're there. Now, aside from that, here's our orientation module. This is the main module for the orientation. And basically, this orientation video is going to be sitting right here. So when you click here, you'll see the orientation video that you're watching right now. There's an orientation to-do list. This kind of tells you what you need to do to get ready for the class, which is basically do the check-in. And there's also a space down here you'll see at the bottom of this orientation module, getting to know each other. This is really important. And I know I'm skipping ahead for a moment, but it's important because this is also due in that first week. And this is just for you to kind of, it's like an extra credit thing, and I do reward points for it. But it's for you to say, hey, my name is, John, Joe, Jimmy, Jorge, whatever, and just say, or Elizabeth or whatever, and say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do. In fact, you'll see there's a few questions in here that I ask you to just throw out there for information. This is not a hookup site. This is just a matter for you to be able to, like, what's your name, what's your status, what's your major if you have one yet, are you from the Valley, just basic information. That's all you're going to provide here. And again, it's not a space for people who are to bully or badger you. If anything like that happens or anything inappropriate, please reach out to me immediately and I will deal with it immediately, okay? Because I'm big about protecting my students. I'm an ex-football player, so I know how to handle all that. But anyhow, just be respectful of other people, be respectful of what they share with you. But I want to learn a little bit about you and let your classmates learn a little bit about you, even in this online modality, okay? All right, so let's get on to the next thing. I'm going to go back to the module because it's the easiest way to jump in here. And I'm going to go down back to the orientation module. And we have my bios here, so you want to learn a little about me. I do a lot of TV work with news in San Diego, so you'll see a lot of the stuff that I do there if you want to learn more about what I do. I also do uh, radio, and I've done lots of news stuff on the newspapers and stuff. But yeah, so this is how you contact me. I'm not going to go in each one of these. And then some of this stuff is just more procedural stuff. Are you ready for online learning? Do you have any? Do you know Canvas? We do have learning places to learn Canvas if you don't know Canvas and you need to get up and running on Canvas. I know a lot of students sometimes try to work and do their work on their phones. And I know it's handy for little things, but I would encourage you not to get in the habit of doing that unless you absolutely must. If you're struggling, we need a computer of some sort. We do have avenues to try to make those things happen for students who need accommodations. So I've just seen students try to get things done on their phone, and unfortunately, it doesn't always work out well. Especially doing testing and stuff, it's just really hard to do. But that's your decision. I will not enforce anything about that, but I've seen it blow up many times as a result of those things. Again, that's very information about time commitment. That's very general stuff, attendance, participation, getting to know your online classroom. So this is just all informational things. If you're an EOPS student, this is here video that's put in by one of my dear friends. Just a little short snippet about EOPS if you want to get involved or want to be part of EOPS. The academic calendar, which is very important, it just basically shows you what the breakdown of the academic year, fall, winter, and spring semesters. And then the important fall dates. I will click here because this is really kind of important. And here, the reason it's important is because in here, it shows you the deadlines for like if you're going to drop, late registration, all those things are listed in here. So make sure you might take a quick glance at this so you know when like if something really goes wrong and you can't finish the class and you're not going to do well and you want to drop for the term, just note the date here, November 4th, for example, right? So you want to make sure you're on top of the dates and the things that are here to help you in that end or to that end. Okay. And then I'm just shooting back down here. So the next thing is the syllabus, and I'll go into that in just a second. The course roadmap, again, is basically the last page of the syllabus. It just shows you and lays out the course over the next 16 weeks, and I will open it in a new tab so you can see it. And basically, if you go here, it just breaks out every week. It shows you the weeks of what's going on each week. And so that's what it does, all the way to the end of the semester. Okay? All right. Textbook information. So this is just give you some information about, again, the textbook. And this is what it looks like. And it's a zero-cost textbook, so you don't have to pay any money for this book. You can download it for free. You'll have the ebook, and if you want to print it out for yourself, if you prefer to print it, you can actually print the ebook or print the chapters as you need them. This just gives you a little overview about the book that we're using by Cell, and it's really short and sweet. But that's what I like about it. It's practical. It just assumes that you're just an introductory student, and so it really provides a basic framework. But it doesn't cost you a penny. So for those of you who are struggling financially, hopefully this will be a benefit to you. I know I wish I'd had it when I was an undergrad as a starving athlete. Okay, this is the e-textbook, and you just click on it, and then you can download the PDF here to your computer. It's also built right into the system, and there it is. So you can read it here. You can expand your screen, of course, and you can read it online here if you wish, and it's the entire textbook. Okay. All right. Let me close out this course roadmap and let me go back to our module. Okay. So there's the course textbook. And then there's some information about discussions here, which I don't need to go into, but it really shows you and tells you the things in the discussions, which are integral to the class and what you need to do and how you need to proceed with regard to the discussions. Actually, I will go into one. Let me just click in here for a moment just so you can see. So if you go in there, it just tells you about the discussion and how to write a strong discussion post. And in the discussion is basically what has to happen. Let me just go there real quickly. So this is where I get to your critical thinking gets built. So I pose a series of questions that you have to respond to. And there's one per chapter that you have to respond to. And basically, the first thing you do is answer, you individually will answer my question to me. And what I'm looking for here is a really solid paragraph, a really well thought out paragraph of answering the question that I'm posing. And you want to answer it in a way where other students can respond to you. Uh, so the goal is to be able to have a discussion without physically being in a classroom. So let's say if I'm a student and I respond to the teacher, and then you read what I write and you respond to me. So you have to have so here's how it works. You have one response, your initial response to my question, and then you have to respond to three of your classmates. So you go through and look at what your classmates are writing, the three that are the most interesting to you, then you want to respond to them. You can agree or disagree with them. You don't have to always agree with them. If you disagree, it's perfectly fine. Be polite about it, right? You can say, I'm sorry, I disagree with you on this. This is why I disagree with you on this. That's perfectly fine. But be respectful in your responses, okay? There's always, even if it's somebody who's you might feel is really way off in left field or really is completely opposite of you, um, you can say what you need to say. But again, as I said, make it respectful, okay? My goal is to see you, I want to see you really a well thought out paragraph for each one of these. And then what I'm hoping is to see that there's fruitful dialogue that we all learn from. And that's what I hope to see throughout this process. That's why for the discussions, you're limited to a 2-week window for each of the discussions. It's important that you get them done during that time because imagine, for example, if we're in week 2 and you write the discussion or write your responses, and then somebody else decides that, well, in week 5 they want to go back and try and respond to it. Well, we asked the question in week 2, and somebody in week 5, well, it's not relevant because there's no ability to have point counterpoint or respond back and forth to that issue if you want to. Um, so use it, be creative with it. I have samples in here of what they look like. And that way you can kind of go in here and assess. So for example, if we go into the next one, you would see some examples of what that looks like. And the name is, I have a video here that I've put in, so you can watch that on your own time. But yeah, so I put it in there for you, so it makes it easy for you to sort of digest. Okay? Now, following the following week, as we get into week 2, and you can go back up here and see what's coming up, right? So week 2, chapter 1. So you go down to the chapter 1 module, and the chapter 1 is politics and power, and I structure them all the same way. There are the learning objectives that are laid out in here that tell you what you're supposed to know for each chapter. You'll find my lecture here, the video lecture. Um, you'll find that the chapter from the textbook. So you have the full textbook up above, but you also have the chapter, just the chapter, also linked in here too. This took me a lot of time this summer, by the way, so you're welcome. There's also PowerPoints that I have pulled in for this. There's video clips, which I think are also integral because they help you sort of take what you read and sort of make it real, right? So I would say before you get to the discussions, you definitely want to handle all of this. So you want to go through these things, let it stimulate your mind. So when you're answering the question that I posed, it really helps you be able to do that because you've built a base of knowledge for yourself that's going to help you be better about that. Okay. And then I break down the assignments. So everything's set up the same way: the overview, the resources, and the assignments. And there's always going to be the two same things. There's going to be a summary and a discussion. The summaries are worth 20 points. The discussions are worth 40 points. The summary basically is an overview of the chapter. So for each chapter, I'm going to basically say, what did you think about what you saw? And then highlight some specific examples of what you got from that chapter. What was important to you about that chapter? And just give me 2 or 3 examples of something that reflects to me that you have knowledge of what you read. And that's all I'm looking for. It should be about no more than a page in length, something somewhere in there. If it's a little less, but it's really good, I'm okay. But at least I'd say a couple of good paragraphs, maybe 2 to 3 paragraphs in length. So no more than 500 words. If you can stick with less than that, which is about a page, that's fine. And then, of course, the discussion. And for each one, you can either click on it here. you can click under here inside of the module, or over here on the left under assignments, you'll find all of these as well. As a matter of fact, let me go here and show you the assignments just so you can see what it looks like if you go there, for those who aren't familiar. You click on the assignments tab, you'll see all of the assignments that are listed in here. So you have the summaries, the discussions, and what's important about each one, it shows you when it's available, it shows you the due date, these are for the summaries. So I have it set up now. All the summaries open up when the first day of classes. So if you're one of those people who likes to get ahead and you want to start knocking out summaries and read, and you like to read and really into it, you can do the summaries when you want, starting from the beginning of class all the way to the very end of the semester. However, I do have due dates for them. So if they're late, I do deduct 5 points for late summaries after September 24th, for example, for summary for chapter 3. So each one has a due date, and anytime after that due date, whatever point you were going to get is going to have an additional minus 5 points. So let's say the max is 20. Let's say you got 18 on one of these, and you turned it in late, then you're going to get 13. Does that make sense? Okay. That's how the summaries work. And then down below, the discussions also have all the dates available here. So it's not available until September 11th, but it's due on the 24th. So that tells you that 2-week window in there. That's what it reflects. Okay. After that date, it will not be available. So that last date was when I cut it off, and I only open it up if there is some really serious mitigating reason for me to open up a discussion that's already closed. Okay. So under discussions, you get a 2-week window only. So make sure you get on top of those after that first week. Hopefully you spend that first week reading and going through the stuff, and the second week you can start working on the discussion part. That's what I would suggest anyway. Okay, so that takes care, and every module set up the same way. They're all structured the same way. So all you need to do is go to the top here under the course schedule, see what week you're in, and then jump into the chapter for that week, and you're good to go. Okay. And I think that's it for the orientation. The only thing I haven't covered yet, let me do quickly, because I know I'm a little longer than I wanted to be, but that's okay, because this is the only one that's like this, is the syllabus. So let me open the syllabus for you quickly. And I'm sure most of you understand what a syllabus is and how it works, but let me just jump in here quickly to show you. So the syllabus looks like this, and it has basic information about the class and the course description and all those things, right? They're all set up pretty much the same way. There's the textbook information. I think for you, the most important thing is going to be down here when it gets to the grading scheme. So there are, and I've got to change it. I see there's an error there, so I'll have to change this now. I apologize. I'm going to change this, so ignore this right now because it's going to be based on 10, not 6. This actually, I rebuilt this from my summer class, but I forgot to change the number because there's 10 chapters. So this will be 200 points, and this will be 400 points for a total of 600 points. So I'm going to correct this as soon as I stop this video, but I'm not going to rewrite the video for it, okay? So just be aware of that. I'll update it now, so it'll be taken care of. Okay. Also, what's important here is the AI's information. So we understand the AI is alive and well, and it's I'm a big supporter of it in many ways. I know a lot of people are freaked out about it in terms of teaching, but I'm going to ask you that you be respectful, that you not plagiarize, because we do have checkers that can check some of this stuff. I'm not draconian about this. I'm not one of those people like this, just punish students all over the place, but I want to know what you think, not what GPT thinks about issues. And pretty easy to spot these days too. So please don't put me in that position, because I don't like giving zeros for people who cheat. So please don't do that, and we'll be all good, okay? All right. I think that's it. Here's the course roadmap again. Again, a sample for you to see. It's broken out here at the bottom of the syllabus, showing you every week by week, what's due. And I think that is it. I think we are done with the online orientation. And I made it under 25 minutes. All right, you guys. Hey, have a great afternoon. I will look forward to hopefully hearing from and seeing some of you next week. And have a great semester, all right? All right, take care.